the outside enemy, and then we have the enemy from within. And the enemy from within, in my opinion, is more dangerous than China, Russia, and all these countries.
President Trump amplified a Truth Social post calling for the lawmakers' death by hanging. This, ladies and gentlemen, is where we are.
What's going on, everybody? So over the weekend, or I guess at the beginning of the weekend, I didn't have a chance to discuss in the last video, I put out our frail, demented, bloated whale carcass of a president, Donald Trump, decided to issue a death threat to members of Congress. I'm going to get into what that ad that the members of Congress put out that sparked this whole thing. We're going to talk about how Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt is trying to spin this. And then I've got some thoughts as well. But before we get into it, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that. And let's take a look at the ad. Here it goes.
Americans trust their military.
But that trust is at risk. This administration is pitting our uniformed military
and intelligence community professionals
against American citizens.
Right now, the threats to our Constitution aren't just coming from abroad,
but from right here at home. Our laws are clear. You can refuse illegal orders.
Okay, so all of these members of Congress were either in the United States military or part of the U.S. intelligence community at some point. And what they're saying is, hey, you don't have a duty to act on something that the president tells you if it's illegal, which is true. And let's be really clear about some of the stuff that Trump is doing every single day that is totally and 100% illegal. It is illegal to bomb fishing boats off the coast of Venezuela just because you claim that they have drugs on them that are coming to the United States. Doesn't matter if they have drugs or not, still illegal, still an act of terrorism, still an act of war, still requires the consent of Congress. You're not allowed to do that. It is illegal to round up people without due process, without a warrant, without anything, to yank them out of their cars, to throw them in a concentration camp, or to deport them without having any trial. That's illegal. And I can go on and on about all of the stuff that Trump is doing that is totally illegal, that he should be removed from office for. And I just think it's so rich that, you know, Caroline Leavitt is going to try and spin this and say that these members of Congress are trying to tell the U.S. military to disobey the chain of command. And we're going to watch how this back and forth exchange happens, and I'll discuss after. Here it is.
The president and the vice president, for that matter, have accused the other side of encouraging political violence. Isn't that exactly what the president is doing when he says that members of Congress should be killed?
Why aren't you talking about what these members of Congress are doing to encourage and incite violence? They are literally saying to 1.3 million active duty service members not to defy the chain of command, not to follow lawful orders.
Actually, what they said is you can refuse an illegal order.
But they're suggesting, Nancy, that the president has given illegal orders, which he has not.
It 100% is illegal, Caroline, and you know it. And it's so grotesque that she sits up there with her frickin' Christian cross and defends the absolutely indefensible, like the most egregious acts committed by the president as he's illegally bombing innocent people. And she's like, what? You're suggesting that he's doing something that's illegal, and it's not. The president is telling the United States military to bomb innocent people. That's not okay, right? And so, like, just because there's pushback from these members of Congress, they're actually trying to encourage these U.S. military members to not do something illegal. If we look back in history, that whole excuse of I was just following orders from the people in the SS and the Gestapo, it didn't hold up at the Nuremberg Tribunal, okay? If you still did something that was grossly illegal under international law, a lot of those people were still punished by death. Following orders, I'm just following orders, is not a good excuse for why you did something that was grossly illegal. As soon as 2026 happens, and if the Democrats take power again, Trump has to be removed. And honestly, if the Republicans had an ounce of integrity, they would be calling for the 25th Amendment right now. I mean, let's just set aside all of the illegal shit that he's done. Trump is barely coherent, right? Like he's wandering around in Japan and he doesn't know where he's going, and the Japanese prime minister has to like tell him where to go, right? Like the reason that Trump is obsessed about, like redoing the Lincoln bathroom and putting gold all over the Oval Office and building out his fancy ballroom is because like the people who are actually in charge, like the real presidents, the shadow presidents, I'm talking about like Russ Vought and Stephen Miller, and probably on foreign policy, we're talking about like Marco Rubio.
Make no mistake, guys, these people are the ones who are actually running the government, and they're just giving Trump these little pet projects to keep him out of the way and keep him occupied. It's like, here are crayons, go play, little child, just let the adults do the work.
So we need to be talking about 25th Amendment. Trump needs to be removed from office sooner rather than later. But at this point, with the Epstein files dropping and the caucus, the GOP totally falling apart, he's losing some of his most loyal foot soldiers. We're talking about like Marjorie Taylor Greene is donezo, and I think she's realized that like the brand is just dead, and every Republican who is sticking with Trump at this point has attached themselves to a boat anchor. And I'm really hoping that more of them start to realize this as time goes on, that Trump's brand and the GOP brand and MAGA, it's like in its current form is totally dead on arrival for any voter. Like they're deeply unpopular. The Republicans are underwater on literally every single issue, even their strongest issues, like, or what would be their strongest issues, like the economy, the like immigration. Like they're underwater on everything. And if Republicans continue to follow this demented, fascist, bloated whale carcass around, then it's going to be the end of their career. But I'm waiting for it. I can't, I cannot stress enough the fact that, like, I think a lot more people, especially with the drop of these Epstein files, are going to realize that if they continue to hitch their wagon to Trump, it means the end of their political career, and you love to see it. Anyway, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.